Hi, good morning, everyone. Now, let's start with a question first, okay? To get you all warmed up in the morning. So, guys, do you know who is this person in the picture? Type your answer in the comments, right? So right now, for those of you who are a basketball fan, you will know that right now the NBA Finals is ongoing, all right? So some of you type in Larry Bird. No, this is not Larry Bird. Larry Bird very old already. Okay, so this is LeBron James, okay? And LeBron James, he is arguably one of the best basketball player ever. In fact, right now, if you look at the NBA Finals, you will often see players like LeBron dunking like this, okay? Now, the next thing I want you all to look at is, imagine if you are watching the NBA Finals right now. Will you ever think or imagine that you can dunk like LeBron James or even play in the NBA, right? Imagine you are chunking down ice cream and watching LeBron James. Can you do it or not? Type in yes or no in the chat, okay? Type in yes or no. So Peter says no, Max says no, Iris says no, right? And guys, you are absolutely correct because the statistics is this. Each year, there will be 10,000 college players. So these are people who are already playing basketball in the school, right? They will want to join NBA. They will go for the trials. But the thing is this, only 110 of them will ever have the chance to play in the NBA. Now, if you look at statistics, if you calculate the chance, this is a 1% chance of even a trained basketball player to ever play in the NBA. Now, you might be wondering, what has NBA got to do with investing? Because after all, this is an investing and personal development conference. Now, I'm not trying to make you an NBA player for sure. I'm not trying to tell you to become LeBron James. But I tell the story because do you know which area of investing has a very low chance of success too? Where most people lose their money. Okay? And the answer is trading. Okay? In fact, I dig out all the statistics to share you guys, right? Be it CFD trading, stock trading, or Forex. Studies have shown that 70 to 90% of the traders lose money. In fact, the trading app themselves disclosed that 77 to 80% of their account holders lose money. So guys, imagine if you are playing a game where you only have 1 in 10 chance of winning. But guys, what if I told you there is a kind of investing, right, that has close to 95% of investors making profits? Would you like to know? Now, I think just now the host already kind of gave the answer, right? And the answer is actually the real estate, or in Singapore, we like to call it property. Why? Because if you compare it to the low percentage of profitable traders out there, this is a game that's already stacked in our favor. Last year, over 95% of all property transactions in Singapore was a profitable one. So let me just quickly introduce myself. Hi everyone, my name is Pete. I'm the founder of Invest with Pete and also NextBrick, a real estate consultancy firm. Now, most people know me as a stock and options investor and instructor. But after many years of teaching people how to invest, I realized that property is actually an even better investment asset for all investors. Right? Personally, I've built a portfolio of 7 properties. I've helped over 190 clients to achieve their property investment success too. So today, I want to share with you guys, right, my BRICK framework, the success secret formula to invest in property. Okay? So guys, how many of y'all here are investing in property as well? Type in me in the chat, okay, so that I can know who I can help over here. Now, of course, I can't just go through everything in 10 minutes. So for those of you who are serious in growing your wealth through property investing, I will share more resources at the end, okay? Right? So watch till the end. Now, let me start with the first thing, okay, and it's this. This is actually the stock market index. Now, one of the reasons why so many people lose money in the stock market is because, look at this, look at the up and down. It is brutal. Right? As a stock market investor myself, I can tell you, it is not easy. It is a very, very hard game to win with massive crashes like this. How many of y'all here are also in the stock market as well? Okay? Right? Look at this, right? We had COVID, where there's a massive dip, and then we had, right, one more recently, we had inflation, where we have a massive dip. Okay? But what is the game that is very easy to win? It's actually in property investment. Now, This is a similar chart, but not of the stock market, but the price chart of Singapore property since 1995. Now, guys, I want you to take a look at this chart, and can you tell me which period is when COVID and the inflation recession happened? Okay? Can you see any big drops like the one that we saw in the stock market? The question is, you can hardly see it. In fact, I circled it out for you. It is right there. Okay? It is right there. You can hardly see it. Okay? And that is the reason why majority of the property investment are profitable. But the question is this, Pete, there is still a 5% chance of losing money. How do we avoid being the bottom 5%? And how do we become the top 10%, most importantly? Okay? So in my past experience, right, I just want to share with all of you is this, right? That the secret to investing got to do with one of the most common questions. And today, by understanding this question, I hope to make all of you perhaps the top 10%, right, of property investor. Now, what is the most common question? Okay? The most common question people ask me is, Pete, when is the best time to buy property? Okay? How do we look at when to buy? So I have a full brick framework here to invest in property. I don't have time to go through everything, but I want to go through one of the components, okay, so that you can get started first. Okay? Guys, for those of you who are in the property scene, great. For those of you who have not, type in started. It is to get started here. All right? And later on, I'll share with you even more resources if you want to. Now, let's go into the component here, and that is I. The I letter in the whole brick framework, and that stands for investment strategy. Now, what is the investment strategy here? What is the key part of our investment strategy? And I call it Fade the News. All right? Everybody type in FTN. What is Fade the News? Let me show you. All right? So this was a news article back in 2020, right? That it was talking about the Singapore property market dropping by as much as 8%, due to weak demand, poor economics outlook, and you should not invest. And this was exactly the dilemma when a friend came to me back in 2022, 2019, right? And we knew each other actually from the stock investing world. And he said, Pete, I totally understand what you're saying now. I want to buy a place for investment. But he was very scared because if you read the news was horrible. Why? Because back then, what do we have? Do you still remember what happened in 2019, 2020? Yes, it was COVID, okay? So I researched a property for him and I suggested this project, okay? And this project, make a guess. Okay, the answer is out already, by the way, okay? So it is actually Woodleigh Residences. Recently, this project was also in the news for having horrible traffic, okay? So guys, I give you a clue. Whenever the news says a certain project is very, very bad, right? You need to take a close look at it. Why? Because that is where the opportunity is, okay? So my friend, I will just call him Mr. Huat. He was in his 30s, he had a stable job, but most importantly, they were still very young, right? And as a couple, they are starting their wealth journey. So I said, hey, actually, right, when it comes to property investing, I don't want you all to become me, I want you all to focus on what you're good at, which is your job, right? They are very good at what they're doing, and I just want to help them passively grow their portfolio. So back in May 2020, what happened to Woodleigh Residences? Is that it was selling at around this price, right? 1,900 per square foot. And he was so scared. He asked me, hey, Pete, can I still invest or not, right? It looks so expensive. So after I did the whole suite of investment analysis, facts, numbers, and projection with him, right, he gained more clarity and confidence. Okay, so these are the numbers. In 2020, these are the exact numbers that Woodleigh Residences was going for, and he bought it at $1.2 million. Okay, so he was asking me, sure can invest, right? So I hide their faces because they are working in MNCs, right? But I show you the numbers because to me, the people who bought the unit is not the key thing. It is numbers. So over here you can see, right? He bought it at 1.2 million, and over a period of 2.5 years, recently, his downstairs neighbor sold at 1.5 million. So over 2.5 years, he already accumulated over 200,000. Now, sometimes people say, hey, Pete, this investment not really great. But one thing you must remember is this. In property investing, you do not pay 1.2 million. You only pay the down payment of 25%. So with his initial capital of 366K, right now, he's sitting at close to 88% profit. And the question is this, what does he need to do in the meantime after he bought the property, after he has invested? I told him just return to focus on your life, return to work, and just watch your investment grow. Okay? All right? So how many of you all would like to have this kind of return and this kind of lifestyle? And this is why, as a stock investor myself, I often share with people, take a look at property investing, because to me, that is where it is truly passive, where the investment works for you, not the other way around. Whereas if you are trading, I'm not saying that trading is bad. Of course, there are very successful traders out there. But the thing is this, do you think you can be the LeBron James like them? I see them as the LeBron James. Okay? So coming back to here, right, the key thing is this. Whenever you see the news telling you not to do something, I think you should start to feel that, hey, I need to work in the opposite way. And that's what I always tell my clients. Fading the news is because the market tends to fool most people. So if the whole world is telling you not to invest, for example, in 2021, right, this particular bank gave out an article in October and said, prices are not sustainable anymore, right? We cannot invest any further. So I have another client here, and of course, guys, when I want to show you good case studies, I want to be honest and frank. I want to show you case studies that didn't work, okay? So this is my chat with one of my clients. Let me just call her Miss Phobia for now. She has a family of 3, and she told me that she wanted to upgrade her house, she wanted to buy a place for own stay, and also for investment, right? And after consulting me, right, I told her about this particular project. You all probably can see the name in the chat, okay? But I don't know whether she saw the DBS report or what, right? She kept telling me she had a lot of concerns. In fact, she was looking for the perfect property. I gave her a few options, not just Treasure, I gave her other options as well. But when she go around and talk to her family, talk to her friends, right, she told me, hey Pete, here got this problem, there got that problem. And you know, back then I was still like very patient with her, so I tried to explain to her, right? But at the end of the day is this. One thing is sometimes you cannot convince people with logic, okay? Right? It didn't work. So guys, I know all of you here are better than this, and that's why you are here to learn, right? So in May, she told me so many things, so many units, how to exit. I asked her, how do you know it's hard to exit? Because the truth is right now, Treasure is exiting very well. So guys, you know people always say, right, the sky is the limit, but no. Your wealth is not limited by the sky. It is limited by what? Type in the chat. It is limited by your mindset. Okay? Because how did Treasure perform? Look at this. In 2020, Treasure was selling at 1,200 per square foot on average. Today, in 2023, it is selling at close to 1,700 on average. So my dear Miss Phobia lost about 270K. And the sad part is this, even after losing 270K till today, I believe, she still has not invested, you know. So guys, your loss will continue to increase if you don't do anything. You will continue to lose money, okay? But the good news is this. Of course, there are cases like this, but most of my students who listen to me take positive action tends to see results, okay? So there's a group of students who say, hey, Pete, we wanted to buy a property. And initially, right, each one of them could only afford a one-bedder, or in fact, one of them can't even afford a one-bedder. So I suggested to them, since you are friends, you guys trust each other, and I think some of you may have this current situation, right? So I told them, why don't you all come together? So when they came together, they bought a two-bedder at the exact same project that I told Miss Phobia. Okay, so they bought a two-bedder at around 900K, and today, their neighbor, the next block neighbor, sold it at $1.13 million. Now, in investing, I always tell my students as well, focus on what is the return on investment. So guys, they invested 262K, this is the down payment, and 4 years later, they are sitting on almost the same amount, but the digits sold, so it's 226,000 profits. So 86% in 4 years. And once again, what do you need to do? By doing nothing. Okay, so you can see the opportunity is here. It is whether you know how to grab it. And I'm very thankful and very glad that a lot of my clients, when they look at the numbers that I share with them, the analysis I share with them, they gain more clarity and they take action. Now the question is this. What's happening in the news right now? Because Pete, you say we're going to fade the news, right? So there is another article, right, that just came out. in April this year, and they talk about, once again, should you invest in Singapore property? And there's a slowdown in prices. Now, guys, type in the chat, what do you think is going to happen this time? Right? What do you think is going to happen this time? So, the most important thing in my BRIC framework, and especially in the I component, right, I always tell people, property investing is not FX trading. It's not stocks trading. You don't need superior skills like NBA player, right? To be a good stock trader, I can tell you, I came from that background as well, right? It is not easy. But in property investing, you just need to understand it, and with the proper guidance and framework, like the BRICS framework, anyone can do it, okay? And why am I so certain that you can do it too? Because I've helped investors with different profile, right? So if you have thinking, oh, Pete, I'm too young, I just started out to work. Here's an example for you, an investor in their 20s investing as well. And in fact, those of you who are young, those of you who are less than 30, type in young. I always believe property is a lifelong wealth game. Start as early as you can, okay? Fade the news, start as soon as you can. I've also helped working professionals, right? This lady, she's one of the accountants in the Big Fours, and in her 30s. And she told me, hey, Pete, I missed out my BTO chance, I missed out my resale market, my resale HDB. Is it too late? The answer is never too late. Okay? Those of you in your 30s, very good, type in 30. 30s is still super young, right? And even for couples who know nothing much about property, right? So this is a couple in their 30s who met me and they say, Pete, I don't know much about property. Actually, I want to buy for own stay, but I also want it to grow. Is it possible? Absolutely true. You can do it as well, okay? And last but not least, I think you all saw Chloe earlier on, and the BRICS framework is something that even the influencers trust, right? So I've created a system to help you to succeed no matter your demographics, no matter your age, okay? And now, there are many more examples I can show with you of ordinary people using my system achieving extraordinary results, okay? And in fact, even for people who are slightly older, okay, I would say older, maybe they are more seasoned investors, okay? Right? Okay, so the key thing is this. The BRICS framework is very extensive here, right? The important thing is those of you who want more resources, I'm going to show you once again, right? BRICK, okay? And the cool thing is this. Well, I don't have enough time to share with all of you how to go through the whole BRICS framework, but next week, okay, on a Saturday, I have a full day program that I want to share with all of you. Okay, this is my flagship property investing course called Property Double Up, right? Now, it is not a 1 hour or 2 hour sharing session. It is a full day of investing learning. Because honestly, do you think you can learn anything in the 1-2 hour? Ask yourself. I don't believe in that. I believe in absolute quality. Now, my usual course fee is about $497, but today, right, because Sean asked me to come to this conference to share with all of you and bring value, it will not be $497. It will just cost you your commitment. What is commitment? Very simple. You scan the QR code over here, and for the first 100 of you who go to the link as well, right, to fill in a registration form and answer some question. Okay, so this is a sample of it. And really, only those who are serious and you complete the form, right, at the end of this, you will receive a very special promo code at the end of the form where it will be a 100% off. Okay, so this is, once again, the details of the application form, really, for those of you who are serious to double up your property returns. But for those of you who are not serious, please don't take up extra slots, okay? Because like what Lionel said earlier on, Zoom has always a limited space, okay? But if you want to be serious and you want to learn how to invest successfully and use the repeatable BRICS framework for property investing, I'll see you at the next week Property Double Up course. All right, see you guys.